people to join us. Hello, everyone. We'll give it a few more minutes for a few more people to join us. But we have our speaker for just about 1 hour. So as is our usual practice, we try to make use of every minute that we have our speaker online. And we record the session. So if you miss anything, it's going to be available to you on our YouTube channel. Our speaker needs no introduction. We've put a bio for him in the group. He's one of us, but someone who is giving to excellence, well established in the KW region, and has a passion for entrepreneurs in the region, especially Nigerians, to thrive. You know, typically we always say, oh, there are no jobs, there are no jobs. Agreed, but there are also a plethora of opportunities for people to set up businesses as a side hustle, grow it into a main gig, employ others, and we can all thrive together. And that's why we have brought Mr. Uche Onuora to be our guest speaker today to give us more insights about starting and growing a business in the KW region. This is one you don't want to miss. This is one you want to listen to attentively because I know him and I've benefited from him from all my different businesses and my side hustles. But you can be sure that he's not just telling you, oh, it's the 6 steps to. No. He's making it practical. He's making it tangible. And you're going to be living with nuggets that you would be able to action on from today to actually grow your business. So Mr. Onuora, I like to call him Uncle Uche. Uncle Uche, the floor is yours.
Okay, no worries. From what I'm seeing, Blessing, there are only note takers on for now. No one has really joined. So Otter, the one that says Faith, Otter, that's like a note taker as well. And
yeah, so because we're recording it, we still go along.
Oh,
so
okay.
That when it's available on YouTube, they can just still watch.
Okay.
And I'm also going to go on the Telegram group now to announce that we've started as well.
Okay. So should I give you maybe like 5 more minutes and then you announce and let's see if anyone joins, or what do you recommend?
You can start with your introduction, and within that time, anyone joins, they can make sure so they don't miss too much.
Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to share my screen, so bear with me one moment. Yeah. Okay, hello everyone. I think I just have Theresa. Theresa, can you hear me? Because your audio is not connecting. It just shows your video. Okay, sorry.
So Uncle Uche, let's start so
Yeah.
that we don't have too much dead space
Okay, that's it.
in the
Okay.
recording.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I think I took the wrong one. Okay, yeah, there you go. Sorry, 1 second. Let me correct this. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Uche Onuora. I'm just trying to set up my slides so that you can see what I'm working through. Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Uche Onuora. And I'm here on behalf of NIROW, Nigerians in the region of Waterloo, to actually present an overview of how to think about starting a business if you live in the Waterloo region or Wellington County. And that view is premised on the work that I do as a venture coach, and also an entrepreneur myself, for a program that is supported and funded by the FedDev Ontario called LiftOff. So the LiftOff program is for Black and Black identifying business people or business owners or any kind of entrepreneur, any kind of venture in the Waterloo region and Wellington County. So LiftOff is a program of the Caribbean Canadian Association of Waterloo Region and focused on Black and Black identifying founders or business people, and helping and supporting them to build businesses here. So yeah, so I said, just to reintroduce myself, my name is Uche Onuora. I'm a venture coach here at the LiftOff Black Entrepreneurship Program, which is also in collaboration with a number of partners, including Conestoga College, where I also serve as a venture coach in the Conestoga Entrepreneurship Collective. Conestoga is also partnering with LiftOff to deliver the unique programming that LiftOff has now developed to support Black founders and Black business people in Waterloo region and Wellington. But all of that stuff is also informed by all of the venture coaching and support to businesses that I provide in terms of coaching and mentorship and direction, is also informed by my own experiences, also being a co-founder and CEO of Hitch. Hitch is an education technology company based here in the Waterloo region. And so, yeah, I have a variety of interests across the spectrum. I believe in the diversity of the entrepreneurial experience, and diversity in this sense means that there are different ways in which you can build a business. And one of the focus areas, especially for Black folks, because of the peculiar circumstances we face, is being able to be supported in those different types of business opportunities that we want to follow. So just to get started, I want to first present some housekeeping. So just if you can, if you're on, you can rename yourself if you're not on your own Zoom account. But if you are, that's fine, because if as we go along, in case there's a need to interact with folks, I would love to call on you or call on your name if we need to do that. So if you can rename yourself. Also, if you have, if you can turn on your video, it would be great to see folks on the call as well. video builds community. Let's keep the video on. And for the duration of the presentation, while I'm kind of talking, if you can mute your microphone just to avoid any kind of distractions or back noise, that would be great. That would be great. And then that will help to limit distractions and all of that. If you want to ask questions at any point in time, it doesn't matter. Just put a question in the chat. I think that the chat is enabled, so you can ask a question. I can answer you right away, or you can share any ideas or anything. So the only rule we have for this session, please, is just engage. If you have any questions, anything you want to ask, please reach out to me, or just say it in the chat. Thank you. So as we start, I just want to kind of commence this presentation. Again, like I said, the focus is on the LiftOff program and how it helps support Black entrepreneurs, especially including Nigerian entrepreneurs as well, and members of NIROW to set up their own businesses here in the Waterloo region on whatever basis that is convenient for you. And to start, I'll just kind of do a land acknowledgement. So the LiftOff program acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee peoples. Our current office is situated in the Haldeman Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work towards reconciliation takes place within our organization through research, learning, teaching, and community building. And it's centralized within our main office in King Street, on King Street West in Kitchener, and the offices of the Caribbean Canadian Association of Waterloo Region. Thank you. So very quickly, I'll jump into kind of like an introduction in terms of agenda and introduction, why the need for LiftOff, what LiftOff is, also who LiftOff is for, who our partners are, and then I'll kind of talk a bit about how to submit a great application. Along the way, I mean, I'll answer any questions that you have, but generally kind of speak to what kinds of ways in which you can start a business and how that kind of operates. So just to start and kind of preface everything that we're going to talk about today, it's important to note that, you know, Black entrepreneurs face numerous challenges in the business ecosystem that hinder their progress and advancement. And of course, for members of NIROW, especially those who, let's say, you know, moved from elsewhere and came into Canada, or moved from elsewhere, maybe whether Nigeria or anywhere else, and then relocated to Canada, there are peculiar challenges that we face. I mean, when you move in here, the first thing you're thinking about is how to get a job. You're thinking about how to, if you have a family, you're thinking about where to live. You're thinking about some transportation, you know, communication. You're thinking about food, all these things. And the premise of all of them, of course, is if you're not a student, is always you're thinking about your career, and you're thinking about how to cater for yourself and for your family. And oftentimes, the default way, obviously, is to get a job. But one of the things that we're realizing is that for a lot of people moving into the region, there are opportunities to set up a business, especially for folks who maybe themselves have already been business inclined. Maybe they had a business back home or elsewhere, and now want to kind of restart it. But because of the challenges and the demands of living in Canada in modern day, you kind of feel like it's too difficult or it's impossible. Yes, it is difficult. And yes, there are obstacles that especially members of NIROW, you know, Nigerians, Africans, Black people in the area face. But that's why LiftOff by CCAWR was created, to address these challenges and to power the future of Black entrepreneurship. So just as a kind of a background, LiftOff itself is an initiative or program of the Caribbean Canadian Association of Waterloo Region, in collaboration with a host of other partners as well. But essentially, it is a program that CCAWR conceived to support Black entrepreneurship, and it's a recipient of funding through the Black Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Fund to help develop and deliver a Black-led business accelerator and incubator for Black entrepreneurs. And essentially, what it means is that whatever you do business-wise, whatever you're trying to do business-wise, LiftOff is here to help support you. There are a variety of different programs that LiftOff has. And so the focus is essentially on making sure that anybody who is Black or Black identifying in Waterloo Region, Wellington County, who has a business idea, who has interest in something that they want to do business-wise, entrepreneurship, whatever you want to call it, venture building, has support. And an incubator essentially is an organization that is set up to provide certain types of support, including mentorship training and other resources to help you get an idea off the ground. So to go from an idea to an actually functioning enterprise as quickly as possible, with as little mistakes as possible, but also as successful as you can be. And of course, beyond just incubating and helping you kind of think through the idea and work on develop the idea, is also to help you accelerate. So if you already have an existing business that you have, maybe you have something that you're doing that you want to kind of expand, or you have an idea for a new product or something, LiftOff is also there to help you accelerate what it is that you're doing and to move faster and to be more successful in connecting to the wider ecosystem and surmounting a lot of the challenges that you may face. Yeah, and so so why the need of LiftOff? So LiftOff was founded out of this knowledge that Black individuals make significant contributions to our communities and yet are underrepresented in the entrepreneurial sphere. This disconnect, it affects our opportunities and affects our ability to access solutions that can help Black entrepreneurs scale. And so some of these key barriers that Black founders face, especially those who move into the area from other countries, who may not have been born in Canada, who are newcomers to Canada, there are a number of these challenges. And the way in which LiftOff set about finding out these challenges is also instructive because it affects, and it's important in terms of, So it's important in terms of how you as a founder or business person kind of figures out what it is that you want to work on for a business idea. So essentially, we carried out what I call discovery interviews. Discovery interviews are basically focused on asking real life Black people, real life Nigerians in the region, different backgrounds, different communities, different types of people, different types of backgrounds, career-wise, but all uniformly representative of the Black experience or the Black prospective business or existing business experience. And speaking to them, we carried out these interviews to kind of understand very deeply at a fundamental level what the challenges were that Blacks faced in this area. And some of these that we identify, these key barriers and challenges include, difficulty in accessing capital, unfair treatment, access to information, not knowing where to go to find information that can support you to build your business, misaligned mentoring. So you need mentorship and support in various areas. You need access to experts, people who know that can help you build a business and you don't have access to them, or maybe you're accessing the wrong folks. Also lack of a collaborative spirit of a Black enterprise. So a lot of times people are doing the same type of business and they feel that they're competitors and they don't want to collaborate with other people. And so this creates sometimes siloed effects around access to information or access to even collaboration and community enterprise as well. And then of course the visibility challenge through digital and traditional means, which impact customer acquisition. So how do people find out about you? How do they know that you exist? It's one thing to have a business. It's another thing to have a business that people know about and that people are finding out about in a very reliable manner that is also helping you to continue to build your business. And so LiftOff set up trying to understand these. And once that was understood, a lot of those lessons and insights from talking to real life, actual business people and prospective businesses is actually what then informed it. So the LiftOff program, the mandate is to provide services and programming to Black entrepreneurs to start and grow their businesses. But the services are also focused on Black entrepreneurs with a scalable business idea. And scalability is relative, but essentially what it is that whatever it is that you're doing can be started and supported to grow beyond just being a very small business. So you can be even, it doesn't matter what type of business it is. It can be a tech business, non-tech business, it can be whatever it is. But the goal here is that you are growing and that your business is succeeding and that your business is creating more empowerment and economic opportunity for you and your family as well, and your partners and business collaborators as well. And so the services that are provided, essentially, services include, a customizable business and market validation roadmap. So what does this mean? So essentially, part of the main challenge with building a business is understanding what exactly it is that you want to do. Human beings typically are problem solvers. So we see a problem and we want to solve it. And we start thinking about the solutions, especially if it's something we faced, something we've observed, anecdotally, we've heard someone talk about it. Whatever it is, there's usually an impetus that kind of sparks a eureka moment where someone says, oh, wow, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. Whether it's in food. So for instance, I come in here and I see that, oh, a number of Nigerians are moving in, maybe there are not enough Nigerian restaurants or opportunities to eat food. I said, okay, maybe I want to solve a problem in the food space. I know how to cook. Oh, people have always said my food is good. Oh, then I want to cook, and then I want to kind of supply that food to different people. So whatever the impetus is, it could be, oh, I come in and it could be, you know, hair braiding. It could be, you know, grocery store. It could be anything, right? Whatever thing that you set your mind to essentially to solve can be solved. But then part of what LiftOff has realized, especially in talking to a lot of people and then running the program now for, since the program launched now for over a year, is that there is a need for there to be programming. That is a process that you follow and different concepts that you learn and that entrepreneurs need to be exposed to be able to be successful at business. And these are standard across business. It doesn't matter what type of business it is. It doesn't matter what type of enterprise. Even, for example, for nonprofits, it's the same thing. Sustainability and the ability to keep continuing to operate and solve whatever problem it is or provide whatever solution it is that you want to provide is grounded in a series of steps and a series of concepts that essentially help you to build your business, but then also do it in a way that validates that the business actually needs to exist. And that validation is usually driven by this concept of discovery, and it is a focus on the problem as opposed to the solution. So to my point earlier, a lot of people are problem solvers, and so we will, you know, navigate, or we will, you know, we'll flock around the idea or concept of solving a problem. But the challenge is we focus so much on the solution that we don't understand, maybe at a very fundamental level, what the problem is, or what the issue is, or what the challenge is that we're trying to solve, what our own unique perspective to solving it is, and how we can differentiate ourselves from competition. And so having this customizable business and market validation roadmap within the LiftOff program is something that founders benefit from and are able to then use and be coached and be guided to improve and make their businesses work. And so that comes through one-on-one coaching. And so typically, if you come into the LiftOff program, or if you apply to LiftOff program, you are encouraged, you are admitted, and then you are paired with a coach. And then that coach kind of works with you one-on-one, is your guide, is your mentor, is your kind of like your strategic level support to help you build your business. And so the whole goal is that the coach comes in and has to understand at the fundamental level what you're trying to achieve, what your goals are, what the problem is that you're trying to solve, and then guides you to then work with the roadmap and complete all of the tasks and the components of the roadmap to be able to then build your business successfully. In addition to that, one of the things we found out was that there's peculiar challenges that Black founders face, especially in the Waterloo region and Wellington County. And so we've developed these concepts called Black entrepreneurship perspectives. And so this basically takes a Black lens to understand what these peculiar challenges are. So as you're building your business, there are certain challenges that you face that are peculiar to you. And if you think about when I spoke about the different types of challenges or obstacles, whether it's access to funding or misaligning or mentorship, or not having access to information, not having access to a community or collaborative ecosystem to support you, siloed information, not having access to digital or physical channels that let your people know about your business, whatever these are, these peculiar challenges are then kind of captured in what we call the Black entrepreneurship perspective modules that actually kind of get you thinking about those challenges and figure out ways to turn those challenges around into opportunities. And so one of the things that Black folk do, one of the things that all of us as founders and entrepreneurs, as business people try to do, is to seek to turn a challenge or to overcome a challenge, but not just to overcome it, but to also turn it to an advantage. And that's one of the things that the Black entrepreneurship perspective does. Another thing that we also provide is mentoring by subject matter experts. So even though when you come into the program, there are certain core fundamental business principles and concepts and and things that you need to complete in order to build a successful business. And your coach works with you one-on-one. So if you were in a program, you might be paired with me as a coach or one of my colleagues. But essentially what it is that there's certain aspects of business that are specialized, whether that's in marketing, whether that's in sales, whether that's in advertising or finances or fundraising or any aspect, specific, peculiar aspect of business might require a subject matter expert. And so what we do is we then provide what we call enrichment sessions. So enrichment sessions are additional resources or training or support that you receive in a specific area that can be used to help you grow your business. And so LiftOff has a bench, has a group of very highly qualified, proven and experienced and very helpful subject matter experts as mentors who then provide those specific things. So as you need those services, you can access them on almost on demand basis. And then of course there's advisory services, general advice on how to build your business, different aspects of your business and all of that. Then there's also business skills and leadership workshops, because part of being a successful business person isn't just doing the business, it's also growing and developing additional skills and additional capacity to be able to be not just a business person, but a highly skilled business professional, and then also a leader in terms of leading your organization or your company or business or whatever it is you're doing. And then also providing opportunities to pitch for funding as well. I see that there's a question. So someone said, okay, Ayo says, okay, where do we find the threshold of initial capital you provide for a new business? So so technically, LiftOff is focused on providing the training and support to build a business. There is opportunity after you've kind of completed the training and the support to get access to funding and support. But typically, LiftOff's direct role is on providing the support and then making introductions to an ecosystem or community of different folks who can provide that funding for you. And typically, in terms of what I talked about, customizable business and market validation roadmap, the real goal there is that we're trying to prepare you for those opportunities. And so LiftOff has a list of opportunities that exist, whether it is different types of funding. It could be grant funding, debt funding, which is like debt where you borrow money from a bank. It could be investment where you get equity investment from an investor. But all of those things are provided to you after you kind of completed the program. Now, in terms of, so now that you brought it up, just to speak specifically to that, the direct funding, LiftOff does have some direct funding. So LiftOff has a Waterloo Region Economic Grant for newcomers, which is up to $5,000. And it also has a new fund, a grant fund supported by our partners over at TD Bank. So it's called the TD Seed Fund Grant, which is also up to $5,000. And so anyone who is admitted into LiftOff and who completes certain aspects of the LiftOff program, and I'll get into those different programs. There are a number of phases. So LiftOff has 4 phases, and so long as you complete the first 2 phases where we actually teach you and support you to validate your business and make sure that your business is on the right footing. So once you complete that, then you're eligible for the Waterloo Region Economic Grant for newcomers. So typically anyone who has moved into the region or Wellington County recently can access up to $5,000 of grant funding. So grant basically means it's not repayable, so it's non-repayable money to help you kind of start your business. But what LiftOff wants to do is not just to provide you business, because a lot of folks feel, that the main problem they face is funding. Yes, funding is one of the problems that we've definitely identified that. But if you receive funding without the training and the support and the information and the resources that you can leverage to build your business, that money can run out very, very quickly and you're back to square one. And so one of the things that LiftOff and all of the regions resources that are set up to help businesses are trying to do is to connect you to the resources that will make you successful, connect you to the training and understanding and capacity and the mentorship and the coaching and the advice to make sure that you can build your business successfully. And then only after that is now the funding, the criteria, because without that understanding, even if you get money from a bank, if you collect a loan or get an investment, the business will likely fail if you don't have that training, if you don't have that support, if you don't have that community kind of behind you. And so the indirect funding that LiftOff provides, apart from these direct grants that I talked about, the Waterloo Region Economic Grant for newcomers, which is up to $5,000, and the TD Seed Fund grant for up to $5,000, is also coaching and mentorship. And the value of the coaching and mentorship that LiftOff provides, it's free to people in the program. So when you get into LiftOff, if you apply to LiftOff, it is a competitive process, and you'll be reviewed. You fill out an application, you do an interview, and if you're accepted into the program, this coaching and mentorship and all the things that I described in terms of business support services, the value of each per venture is at least $50,000. Now, so even though you don't pay for LiftOff, the value of the coaching, the mentorship, the resources that you get, whether it is in access to mentors, legal mentors, accounting mentors, fundraising, marketing, or your coach working with you one-on-one to help you build your business over the duration of the time in the LiftOff program is worth about $50,000. And then, of course, the additional enrichment workshops that I spoke about in specific areas. Some of them are varied. There's mental wellness, there's fundraising, there's pitching, how to talk to banks, how to prepare your pitch, how to raise money, how to market to your customers, how to do your sales. All of those enrichment sessions also are free to people in LiftOff. You receive access to those recordings. You can attend, you can ask questions, you have access to the mentors that organize the enrichment workshops. And the value of that is about $3,000 per business venture. Thank you. Yeah, so the program structure. So just to kind of give you a kind of like an overview, the program structure is that it is coach driven, right? Any entrepreneur that comes into LiftOff program, any business person that applies will receive one-on-one coaching and support with a built-in advisory board. So think of it this way. If you are the CEO of your business, your LiftOff coach is like your board of directors, right? You still have to do the work. You still have to be the one building the business, but you're building it together. Your coach is working with you, rooting for you, is with you every step of the way, is guiding you. If you need a sounding board, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling challenged and things are not going well, or things are going, whatever it is, something you need for advice, your coach is there from there, and it's one-on-one. Because this is something that a lot of Black founders face and struggle with, where you have to carry all the problems and the burdens on yourself. Your coach is there to actually help you carry that burden. And so you have weekly meetings with your coach to work on understanding your problem space, understanding your, the market validation and the solution building and finding their fit. So like I said, a lot of founders are biased towards solution. But the major piece of what you really need to do at the very early stages of trying to build a business here in Waterloo region is understanding your problem. You need to become an expert at your problem, not the solution. The solution can change. Like one problem can be solved in a number of different ways, but the solution, the ability of the solution to really solve the problem in a way that customers love and that creates value and that is difficult to replicate, it requires a deep understanding of the problem. And so this focus on the problem space while you're working with your coach will require you to do extensive discovery research, where you're talking to potential customers, you're actually going out in the field, you're speaking to people, you're learning. It's research. So think about an experiment. The business is an experiment, right? It is a business, it's an experiment in whether you can create a solution that you can deliver value to someone or a group of people or businesses or whatever, and then they pay you for that value that you create. Yes, okay, so I just asked a question. Does LiftOff have equity ownership in NBGs? No. So again, this is one of the things that's important about LiftOff and important about the services it provides. Every single aspect of what LiftOff does for you is free. And so when you think back to when I talked about the direct and indirect funding and the coaching and support, the reason why there's a competitive process and people apply and you work through your business, that LiftOff essentially is making a bet on you. But then the program is sponsored by the FedDev Ontario, which is a federal government agency for Southern Ontario or Southwestern Ontario that provides this funding specifically to support Black business people. And so LiftOff itself does not charge for its program. It is completely free to you, completely free. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't cost money. It does cost money. Like I said, the coaching, the time, the effort, the resources, the connections to different types of resources, all of that stuff costs money. But that's paid for by FedDev and other sponsors that LiftOff has. It's free to you. It is completely free to the entrepreneurs who join LiftOff. LiftOff does not also take any equity in your business. Your business is yours 100%. The only goal, the only thing that LiftOff cares about is your success. And so what this means, essentially, a lot of times we say this, is that LiftOff is incentivized with you. Your incentives are aligned. You want your business to succeed. LiftOff wants your business to succeed. But LiftOff's only metric, the only way in which LiftOff knows that it is doing its job well, is if you are successful. It doesn't take any payments from you. It doesn't take any kind of equity in your business. It is support for you one-on-one to build your business. There's no equity participation from LiftOff. So yeah, so essentially, yeah, that's what it is. So LiftOff basically has a concept where one of the things we try to do is to help you build your business very quickly. So essentially, we try to optimize for speed. When we're planning in trying to build your business, instead of trying to build the entire solution and everything from day one, you first take time, like we said, in understanding the problem. And then once you understand the problem and have spoken to customers and have a very clear, precise understanding of the problem, then you pick, like, you kind of craft your solution. You can tweak your solution. Even if you've had a solution before, you can tweak it, you can adjust it now based on data, based on information. It is informed solution. It is an informed solution. It's not just a solution you thought about that you think might work. It's a solution that you know has a very high probability of succeeding because you've actually tested it. And so in the process of planning out and building that, we optimize for speed. We try to make it, make you focus on simplicity instead of it being complex, repeatability over functionality. So it doesn't have to be the perfect solution at the early stages. What you really need is a perfect understanding of the problem, and then a test out where you're trying to do different things. The other thing also is that inertia kills. We try to keep you engaged, make sure that you're completing tasks, building your business every day, because at the end of the day, you have to do it. Your coach can support you and provide you with coaching and support and mentorship and access to resources, but essentially you have to build the business. And part of building the business, the way the LiftOff envisages is for you to document everything that you're doing. And so if you talk to customers about your business and you're saying, this problem, we have this problem, you need to document it. All of those things need to be documented, because that's where it now becomes interesting. Remember where I said that LiftOff is trying to prepare you to be successful in business. It's trying to prepare you, to connect you to investors, to connect you to banks, to connect you to grants. All of those supports, all of those financial supports, whether it is grants, which are non-repayable, whether it is loans that are repayable, whether it is investment for an equity stake in your business, all require documentation. And so our focus is on helping you build your business, but more importantly, document the process of building your business, proving that what you're building actually needs to be built, that actually is solving a problem, that the actual customers that have this problem. So all of those aspects of your business, various aspects of building out that business, has to be documented. One of the biggest challenges that we have sometimes if you want to go back historically, in African societies has been this concept of oral tradition. And there's nothing wrong with oral tradition. The challenge with it is that it's dependent on, oral handed down stuff. And that's kind of how sometimes we try to build our businesses. But what we want to do in LiftOff is to actually give you the tools and the capacity to document all aspects of your business. What that does is that it, one, helps you to keep track, right? It helps you to onboard new partners, new customers, new investors who always, if they're investors, whether they're financiers or investors, whether they're grant funders or banks, they want to see information. They want to know that you know what you're talking about. So different people call it different names. It can be a business plan, it can be this, whatever it is. The documentation of you building your business has to be is very critical. And so we try to keep you engaged and working on those different aspects that will help you document your business. The last piece is that we want you to trust the process. The process is our culture. And so LiftOff has now been doing this for over a year. We've had different founders come to the program, Nigerians, non-Nigerians, different people come to the program, different types of businesses, and it's essentially the same process of helping you build it. And so that process has now become the culture. Now, it does change. The process improves and it does get better based on feedback, but there's a standard process that we apply that we know helps our clients. And so we expect that they can trust and immerse themselves in working towards their goals and building their business according to their definition of success. And so there's also group learning. For example, sessions from subject matter experts to deep dive on key business skills and knowledge areas that I spoke about. And then, of course, the Black entrepreneurship perspectives that help you understand the different peculiar challenges and things you have to think about as a Black founder in this space. And then, of course, mentorship, a network of mentors from across different industries and fields, whether sales, marketing, and then different types of businesses, whether in food, whether in tech, whether in social enterprise, whether in finance, whether in healthcare, whether in, beauty and cosmetic, whatever type of business you have, we have a wide array and growing network of mentors that can provide. So these are usually established business professionals and successful founders that provide advice and access. Now, it's critical because a lot of what I'm here to say to you today is there's one key takeaway you should take away is that at the end of the day, you really need to understand why you're doing your business, what problem you're solving, but more importantly, you need to document it. And so one of the things that LiftOff wants to do is that at the end of the program, you have skills that no one can take away from you that you can always reuse to build your business, build other types of businesses or whatever as you go along as well. And so, yeah, so there are 4 different phases of the LiftOff program. It's a 1-year program. It's essentially 12 months, and then there are 4 phases, and each phase is approximately 12 weeks. The phases, phase 1 is an ideation and program validation. So this one is actually basically focused on research. This is where you have to be talking to your customer. You first have to decide, what do you want to achieve? What is your definition? What is the thing that you want to achieve? What is the problem that you're solving? And in understanding that problem, you will do some research, secondary research, where you're looking at market reports and you're looking at analysis and you're looking at industry reports and economic things that affect the business that you're trying to build, or the area in which you're trying to build it, whether in the industry or niche or whatever that you're building in. But then there's also research that you have to do, primary research, where you're talking to potential customers. And there's a structured way in which that happens. And so the focus in the phase 1 is very intensive, but we provide a very flexible model. So the coach can also work around your schedule, whether you're a full-time person working or whatever the case may be, you're paired with your coach. The main thing we ask for is your time. And so while you're working on it, you're guided by your coach. So the first phase is focused on research and validation and understanding the idea. Validation basically means you have data to back up why you're doing it. So if you want to do a restaurant, if you want to do a hair salon, if you want to do an e-commerce website, if you want to do a cosmetics or beauty play, whatever it is that you want to do, have you spoken to people? Have they said to you that we need this? Have you understood what aspect of what it is that you are seeking to provide that is the real main problem? So for example, for food, there are a variety of different types of businesses right now in Region of Waterloo trying to do food. There are different Nigerians cooking, right? Everybody, so different people, okay, we cook, we provide services, we do catering, we cook for you to order. Some people say, okay, if you order right now, I can bring it to you. Some other people say, okay, I can only take orders on a certain number of days. All of these different aspects. But the question now becomes, how are you doing that? So one, have you taken all the steps that you need to take to be in compliance with regulatory laws or requirements? Is public health, have you taken a food handlers course? Are you cooking out of a commercial kitchen? Do you have a food handlers, food safety certificate for what it is that you're doing, to provide you the cover that you require to be able to grow, right? So if you're doing stuff unofficially, there's a challenge at the limit to what it is that you do, because if you're doing it unofficially and you don't have all those regulatory permits and all of that stuff, it means then that if something goes wrong, someone eats your food or gets sick or it can destroy your business. It can also make you liable personally for doing that. And so the structures around setting up a business and why you need to do a business, what is different about the business that you're doing? What is different? Like if you say you want to do food, what is your unique value? So is your unique focus on certain menu items? So do you want to focus on, okay, I know that I can't cook everything for everybody. If I try to cook everything for everybody, it might affect the quality of food. Or maybe I don't know how to make this food very well. I want to kind of focus on a niche area. Or it could be, I just want to do catering. I just want to focus on catering. I don't want to do cooking for individuals or cooking for one person or family or whatever. I just want to do catering. Oh, I want to do catering, but I only want to do catering for events. Okay, for parties. I want to do catering, but I want to do catering for corporates. I want to do catering for offices where as part of their the cafeteria or something, I can provide it. Or maybe just corporate events. It can also be just corporate events. I want to provide a variety of menu options. Or it could be, yes, I'm Nigerian and it's Nigerian food, but I only want to focus on Canadians. Or when I say Canadian, sorry, I want to only focus on other demographics, non-Nigerians. And I want to change certain aspects of the menu to make it appeal to them. Just the same way that, Chinese restaurant has now become ubiquitous, different types of restaurants have become ubiquitous. Some people might say, oh, well, non-Nigerians don't like a lot of pepper. Let me just use that as an example. It's not a stereotype, but let me just use that as an example. And then you make a particular menu and you say this menu is for this particular target customer. You understand who the target is. What that then means is that if a Nigerian or someone who likes pepper comes and eats your food and say, oh, I don't like it. Yeah, you don't like it. It's not for you. That's the point. Like, you're not trying to cater to everybody. You understand the niche that you're going after. Maybe the niche is some people who want to go out and eat something different. They want to eat different types of dishes from various aspects of different parts of the world, diverse culinary experiences. And then that's your focus. So whatever your focus is has to be informed by research. And that's where the first two phases of the LiftOff program come. So there's a research program. And then once you've understood what it is that you're trying to do, you document it, then you start to build. But too often, a lot of times we focus on the building. And then once we've now built, we're running out, it becomes challenging because if you build, the fundamental question is, who are you building for? Who is your customer? That I make Nigerian food doesn't mean that my customers are Nigerians. That's the way we want you to think. We want to kind of help you understand how to be successful and build a business that will be successful. And the way to do it is to focus on the research, understand the problem, understand who your target customer is and what the problem that they're trying to solve is, then solve it from that basis. And then once you've solved it and you're earning from that, you can begin to grow and expand and, of course, ultimately continue to be successful. And in doing that, you always differentiate yourself. Now, people think, well, when you ask them, is there competition? Who else is doing? Say, oh, no competition. No, there's always competition. Competition is good. Competition actually tells you that what you're doing, you're on the right path. But what you want to do when you see competition is to figure out what is unique and how you're different about what you're doing. And then that can set you apart. You can have 1 million restaurants, that's no problem. But there are different types of restaurants. And restaurants are just fast food. You go in, you buy quickly, it's available. Some you have to order, some they only cater, some are, priced at a certain range, some have a limited menu, different types of aspects. So different types of food business are out there, right? And it doesn't always have to be one type. And so what LiftOff does is help you, take you through that process of really digging in and understanding what it is that you're trying to do. Now, it is definitely an intensive program. It's intensive, it's practical, but it's very hands-on and it's very fast-paced. It requires participation from the business, from you or your founders, your co-founders, people working with you. The workload is at least 20 hours a week. At least you should be spending at least 20 hours a week. You can do it as a side hustle. You can do it as the main thing that you're doing, whatever the case is. But of course, the more time you put into it, the more successful that you're going to be. And then, of course, the first phases 3 and 4. 3 basically means now that you've built and launched your business. You now focus on trying to scale it and how to position yourself. Maybe partnering with distributors, partnering with other collaborators in your field to help you grow your business in terms of letting people know about your business, whether it is referrals, any of that stuff. And then, of course, the last phase is now when you've now finished building and you've launched and grown your business to a certain aspect. You're now transitioning into now you become successful. It's stable, it's sustainable. You could still be going after more funding. It could be, okay, I want to get more funding into the business because the revenue coming in, I think if I spend XY more money on this, it can help me grow my business. And so those 4 phases over 12 months are essentially what the program looks like. Okay. And so just to kind of give you an idea, I know I've talked about different aspects. I've talked about, okay, Black founders and all of that. But now being specific, LiftOff is for Black entrepreneurs by Black entrepreneurs. And so what type of founders? So LiftOff recognizes that there's a high level of diversity among Black-owned businesses and founders. And we are designed to provide customizable program, customizable curriculum that addresses those unique needs. So it doesn't matter. So typically, a lot of business incubators might say, oh, we only take tech businesses. It has to be tech, or it has to be this, or it has to be that. No. LiftOff recognizes that the entrepreneurial experience, the business experience, the enterprise within Black communities can be very diverse. And so one of the things that we've done is that we focus on these different areas and try to build a program that is inclusive of any type of business. So whether it is tech, whether it is food, whether it is beauty, whatever it is, whether it's Main Street or digital, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a YouTube influencer, whatever it is that you do, so long as it's an enterprise that creates value, is solving a problem, and that you can be paid for to grow it and to continue to succeed, LiftOff is there. We also know and recognize that there are lower levels of entrepreneurship amongst Black women, and we are very, very committed to ensuring participation from women. And so in that regard, there are various aspects of what LiftOff clients look like. We've kind of created some personas. And so for just to help you kind of understand this, there's a professional. So, someone who comes in, has a job, maybe mid-career, has highly developed skills, wants to look at a lifestyle business or providing some kind of consulting or advisory type of business. So LiftOff can help that person with know-how, how to manage their risk, how to be better at doing what they do, providing the tools and the capacity to document and to narrow down and quickly understand what your business is. Now, there's also the community person or pillar. Now, this is usually maybe like a Main Street business. It could be like maybe a grocery store. It could be a beauty salon. It doesn't matter, like a business that everybody kind of knows about. And I mean, the different ones NIROW probably knows about. Of course, you know about SNK and, some of the other stores that are out there. These are businesses that have been there, they're established, they're family owned and managed, and they typically have a niche market. Those types of businesses we can help with, growth and scale. Balancing your priorities, succession planning is also a very critical one. As people get older, and especially if it's a family-run business, they want to start thinking about, okay, I don't want all this, my effort and all the work that I've done to just die away. And so typically with business founders and in Black community, especially, even in Nigeria, it's a big issue. We all talk about, there's a big joke back where I'm from in Nigeria, Okeke and Sons. And then after a while, the business, you hear about it, and then okay, maybe it gets old, and then the sons don't want to continue, or the business dies off, or it's not. So there's this critical aspect of business enterprise and generational wealth creation and empowerment that comes in. And so that's where succession planning, balancing your priorities and growth and scale comes in. And then, of course, there's like another persona is like the go-getter. So this is usually someone who's very entrepreneurial by nature. They are driven. I would say this is kind of like a hustler type of person who is very strong ethic, knows what they're doing, looking at what they want to do, have different ideas. And so what we can help, they have different opportunities. They always have different ideas they want to think about. What we usually can help do is to help that person understand why they want to solve the problem that they want to solve. We help them to focus. We help them to kind of prioritize ideas that they want to focus on. And then, of course, the influencer. This is someone who usually is digitally first minded. This is someone who's very familiar, very comfortable with social media, whether on Instagram, whether YouTube, has very strong technical skills, especially around marketing and advertising and getting the word out. He's very self-taught, someone has a strong interest and has a very strong social network and presence. And what we can help them do is also to build business know-how and structure. Structure is very critical, because a lot of times you can be an influencer, you can be this, you can be successful, but if you don't put structure in place, it can spread you thin, and it can make it more difficult for you to grow your business and to keep your business sustainable without you burning out. And so LiftOff provides that know-how and the structure to help you succeed. And then, of course, there's the techie. That's the quintessential one everybody talks about these days in startup world, where, it's a tech, high tech, high growth tech business, has technical skills or business skills. Maybe they code, or even if they don't code, they have a co-founder that codes, but they're building a technology product, trying to scale it very quickly. They're inspired by an ecosystem. And typically amongst Nigerians that move into the region and Wellington County, it could also be a business that is based here, based here in Canada or based in the US or maybe global already, or it could even be a business based here solving a problem for a market back home. And so that's one of the things that we are very committed to doing, is supporting business, because we know that people who move from other communities here, who move from Nigeria, move elsewhere into the region, have networks, have resources, have understanding of problems, have a track record, have a number of communities that they can tap into to be successful as business people, that really all they need is the support and the resources to build a business that can be based here, but doing business back home. And so we completely recognize that. And we then provide things like, access to the ecosystem here, access to early investment and resources to help you build it. But of course, I mean, the training, the support and all that, but also helping you document and get and secure that investment into that business, helping you to go after things. For instance, if you're here in the region and in Canada, for instance, and you're doing business in a market abroad, there are a number of resources that are out there to help support you, depending on the type of business, the stage of the venture. But one of them, for instance, is the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service, which actually has, people don't realize, actually has folks on the ground in the markets that you want to go into to help you penetrate those markets. They even have granting programs where they will reimburse significant costs for you to set up your business. But the reason why joining a program like LiftOff and being in collections with those people is important is that even, for example, there's some programs where if you earn even $1 in revenue, it cuts you off from potential funding that could have been given to you to set up that business. And so it's always good to have access to information and communities like LiftOff, where okay, I can get up to $50,000 to set up a business. I'm based here in Canada. It's a Canadian business, but I'm doing business in Nigeria. Well, you can do that. There's the different programs, different grant programs that LiftOff can connect you with, prepare you for, to then access that funding from programs like the Trade Commissioner Service. And it's up to, one of them is CanExport, it's up to $50,000, I think. I'm not sure if there's change. I think the different tiers, I think 50K and then 75K, where you can actually apply for funding to set up your business. But preparing you and putting you in a position to get that funding is very critical, because all of the funding that is available is competitive. For you to be able to get it, you need guidance, you need support, you need understanding and insight that will help you answer the questions. And that's where a lot of what the focus of what LiftOff is doing in helping you build that out is focused on. And now, whether it's a government support program like the Trade Commissioner Service, or other types of grants and opportunities, or even funding. So there's also export EDC, which also provides credit or insurance, or other types of services to support your business. There's also, if you're importing and exporting, there are different programs that also support that type of business. But being able to connect you to all of those things and those resources requires you to have the knowledge and the skills and the capacity to be successful to get that funding. And then the solver. So this is usually maybe a mission-driven person. The person could be also trying to set up a nonprofit, or maybe it's a social enterprise, globally oriented person, who has lived the experience. They have a lived experience of the problem they're trying to solve. One of the key things here is that LiftOff also has other partners, like I said, in the ecosystem. And one of them, for instance, is the new SDG factory in the city of Kitchener that is set up specifically around socially oriented programs and problems to solve. And so we can connect you to those types of allied supports and services to make sure that you can succeed. And so some of the LiftOff has a number of well-known partners in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. These include Conestoga College, Wilfrid Laurier University, Velocity, which is the incubator from the University of Waterloo, and of course the Waterloo Region Small Business Center. All of these different partners provide different types of resources that are accessible by LiftOff clients that can help support you and make it even more likely that you will be successful. And so the value proposition is essentially, like I said, just to recap, that it's designed for the Black community, and there will be, we're creating pathways for founders and for business people and entrepreneurs within our community, within the region of Waterloo and Wellington County to grow and thrive. We recognize that, we know that each business is different. And so what LiftOff does is to provide customized services that are tailored to your needs. And as your business grows, we continue to provide that pathway to additional service offerings. Even though the program is an initial one-year program, once you complete, you're still part of the community. You'll have access to LiftOff events, LiftOff resources, LiftOff information, all the information that is out there that can help you grow your business. But the number one thing to think about is this thing. If you're building a business, you are more likely to succeed if you build as part of a community, if you have access to information, if you have access to resources, if you have access to funding, if you have access to an ecosystem of support, a community of people, business people like you who are facing the same challenges and problems, and that can help you to grow and to take your business to the next level. And so success at LiftOff, again, like I said, is that it looks different for every client. It's defined by you. You know, what is the outcome that you want to see? Okay, I just want to set up a business to cook. I want to generate $50,000 every month, and that's okay for me. That's fine. What we then do is look at what you're trying to achieve and then provide you with programming and support and a coach that will help you achieve those definitions of success. But what we want from you is that success, whatever it is you define success as, has to be very specific. So it has to be a SMART goal. It has to be specific. It has to be very measurable. You need to know, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to measure. This I know when I've achieved. It has to be achievable. You can say, oh, I just moved into Waterloo region and I want to set up a $1 million business by next month. That's highly unlikely, right? And so what we want to do is work with you to make sure that it's an achievable goal. It has to be, realistic, so achievable and realistic, but it also has to be time bound. You have to say, okay, I want to achieve it by this time. So if you say, oh, I want to set up a business, I want to make $50,000 a month, but by when? Like give me it has to have a time element to it so that you can work towards it. And also that time element will also help to evaluate the realisticness or the reality of the business or how realistic it is. And so if you say, oh, I want to, like I said, oh, I want $1 million in 2 months, that's not realistic, right? Depending on the type of business, of course, but more than likely it's very unrealistic to go from an idea to $1 million in 2 months. It's not impossible, but it's not. It's something that you have to work with your coach, and so it depends also on the work that you put in. And so that's why I said that the commitment to working on your business, what LiftOff commits to doing is providing you resources, providing connections and training and all of that, and also some direct funding and also referrals to other funding. But it also depends on the time and the work that you put in. And primarily, again, success for the program, for your coach, is if you succeed, then the coach succeeds. That's it. All of my clients in LiftOff, all my clients, the only thing that matters to me is if they're successful. They don't have to, how should I put it? They don't have to pay me because this is free to them. They don't have to give me any other type of reward or compliment. No, I'm not interested in that. I just want you to succeed. I want your business to be successful. We want to empower generational wealth amongst NIROW members and other Black founders in the Waterloo region and Wellington County. We want you to build businesses. We want you to be successful. We want you to be empowered. We want you to have economic options beyond, for example, just having a 9-to-5, for instance. You can have a 9-to-5, but we also recognize that if you have an idea for a business, we're here for you. So long as you commit to putting in the time and working on it, we're here for you. And the only thing that matters is if you succeed, then we succeed. So every task, every recommendation, every advice, every support and strategic training provided to you from your coach is for you to achieve your goal. And that goal is something that, like I said, you determine what the goal is. And so all we need from you is to trust the process. For LiftOff and its funders, LiftOff is funded, again, like I said, by FedDev Ontario and has to report back. Typically, FedDev is looking at 3 goals. They want more businesses in Southern Ontario. And they want more businesses that are innovative and growing, job creation. When people think innovation and growth, they think tech. But I was like, no, tech is just one type of business. There are other types of businesses that are out there that you can build and are non-tech. All we want to see is that it's innovative. Innovation just means you're doing things in a different way that other people haven't probably started doing or that is different in the market. That's what innovation is, just different, something new, something that is, you think in a different way to solve a problem that is a big problem that people need solved, or that is creating value for a critical segment or something. And so at the end of the day, all FedDev is looking for is that there are businesses in Southern Ontario that are innovative and growing that eventually lead to job creation. That can be in the food industry, that can be in the agricultural industry, can be anything, whatever business it is that you want to build. LiftOff will support you because what we're trying to see is innovative and growing businesses. We'll provide you with the training and the support and the resources, connection to funding, and all of those things that will help you support and grow. And then, of course, communities that are economically diversified in Southern Ontario. So what does that mean? It means, yeah, if you can have a job, but you can also have a business. There's nothing wrong with that. And so we're here to provide that support to help you grow your business, to make sure that your business is successful, to make sure that you can build something And that even if need be, if you want to hand it over to your family, to your members, kids and all that, they can join you as well. We want to create, again, generational wealth amongst NIROW members. Businesses in Southern Ontario also, LiftOff is interested in businesses in Southern Ontario investing in the development and commercialization of innovative technologies. Again, like I said, innovative technologies doesn't mean only tech. You can be in the food industry and still have innovative technologies. You can be in the water industry, you can be in the affordable home industry, you can be in agriculture. It doesn't matter where you are. Whatever it is that you're doing, innovation can help you succeed. And then with the other thing we require is just to report on your progress throughout the program. From time to time, you'll be given reports that we hope that you will complete, and that would then be helpful. So yeah, at a very high level, that's really what it is. Like I already explained about the program and all of that. And so I think at this point, I can take any questions from the audience. I will stop sharing my screen, and yeah, I can take any questions from anyone who is out there who wants to ask a question. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm seeing Bisola. I'm seeing Rich, K, Akorede, and Ayo. Ayo, you already asked me a bunch of questions, so that's good. But if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them. But again, just to recap, LiftOff is a Black entrepreneurship program set up by the Caribbean Association of Waterloo Region for Black founders and Black identifying founders in the Waterloo region and Wellington County. LiftOff believes in the diversity of the entrepreneurship experience. It doesn't matter what type of business you're trying to build, whether it's a business, a nonprofit, social enterprise, it doesn't matter. Whether it's a side hustle, a Main Street business, a digital business, it doesn't matter. Tech, non-tech, it's fine. All we want to see is that you're solving a problem and that you understand what that problem is and that you have an innovative solution that can solve that problem and create value. So that's it. So if you have any questions, I'll be very happy. Ayo, do you want to ask?
I was looking for the button to raise up my hand. I apologize for it.
No, go ahead.
So you really answered my question about side hustle. Like, can someone still enroll in the LiftOff program while still have other full-time jobs? So
yeah. In fact, you go ahead. Okay.
Oh, no, that's it. I just want to say thank you.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so this is very important, and I'll take some time. The simple answer is yes, you can, and I want to explain the perspective and reason why. Black founders, again, like if you were here at the beginning, I kind of explained this. So Black founders face very peculiar circumstances and challenges, in building businesses. A lot of times when people think about entrepreneurship and say entrepreneurship, they have an abstract, like, tech bro, the tech bro, white guy. And there's even the nomenclature to support it. To say, oh, I started it in my parents' garage. And so those things come from a place of privilege. When you presuppose that, you have a garage, first of all, you have a house that has a garage and you can start a business in it, maybe because your parents say you can use the garage to tinker around. Black folks don't have that. And so a lot of Black folks don't have that. That it's more likely that a Black business person is maybe the first person in the family to be building a business. And so we're very peculiar. We have a very strong focus on that. And the reason is we want to support wealth creation. We want to support business development, and we want to support generational wealth, the creation of economic empowerment. And so one of the reasons why we're doing this webinar is we're also trying to explain to folks who move, because we know that typically most of the Nigerians moving here are going to move for school, or they're going to move for work. So you're coming as a skilled worker, or PR, you're looking for a job, you're a professional already. That's the bias for the Canadian immigration system. And it's understandable. They have needs, and that this is the strategy that was set up. If you're a student, it's the same thing. You're coming in as a student. Typically, it's also a student going into the educational field. Sometimes we have some vocational people coming, but most of the times NIROW members are professionals. Coming in, not the vocational side, they're coming on the professional side. And so we expect that a lot of folks do have a job. The only thing we want to do is to give you options, to say, if you have a side hustle, if you have an idea for business, it doesn't matter what it is, so long as it's something that can create value and that you're willing to work on, then we are also willing to evaluate it. And if you accept it into the program, provide you with all the support that we can, all the referral to resources, all the referrals to partners, all the referrals to funding, and even some direct funding to help you support. So that's long-winded way of saying, yes, all we need from you is your own focus and commitment, because you still need to do the work to build the business, but we will support you with all the things that you need. And if you do put it in that way, put in the time, I believe that you ultimately will be successful.
Thank you again.
Thank you. So I think Rich K. Akorede, any questions? Any questions? No question is just any question. Bisola, whatever it is you want to ask here, and I can answer the question. Even if it's something that you missed, even if it's something that I didn't touch or cover, that's fine. So let me just go ahead and since you're not, so let me just go ahead and say that you can also apply to the LiftOff program. The LiftOff website is liftoff.ccawr.com. If you just Google LiftOff by CCAWR, it will come up, or you can reach out to the NIROW team to provide you that information. We have a mailing list, and the mailing list goes out frequently to update you about developments in the community and what LiftOff is doing, options, opportunities, applications. There's a new cohort starting in a few months. And the application will soon open. So once that application opens, you get a notification. So that's the advantage of signing up for our mailing list. Also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're also on Instagram. And so follow LiftOff, because you will get notifications for when the applications open and you can apply. But you can also just write us if you need to find out anything at info. So it's info@liftoff.ccawr.org is the website. And so, yeah, anyone, like I said, any Black or Black identifying founder in Waterloo Region or Wellington County, any type of business can apply. And so let me just leave the information on the, just leave this up. Yeah, so this is the, yeah. So the website is www.liftoffbyccawr.ca. That's the email, that's the Facebook, and then Twitter and Instagram is the same as well. So applications will soon open. You can sign up for the mailing list and follow us on social media as well. Again, LiftOff is has offices downtown. It's number 2 King Street West. It's right in the same building with the SDG factory. It's across from, I think, the Walpa Hotel, if you know King Street well. It's close to the Walpa Hotel, or opposite it actually. I think Vidyard used to be close by there or something. I think that's where the Vidyard office. But anyway, it's on King Street, 2 King Street West. Is where it is. There's also the SDG factory. There are a number of other organizations there, but LiftOff is set up specifically for Black folks. The only incubator, the only accelerator, the only business support that is dedicated to supporting Black founders, Black business people, including members of NIROW, whether it's a side hustle, tech business, it doesn't matter, to help build their businesses, even if it's a nonprofit, even if you're an influencer, whatever type of business it is, especially food. So all of the folks who are doing food, if you need support if you want to take the business to another level and you need support to do that, there are a number of resources that LiftOff can connect you with in a way to help you build your business. So I will say that for those of you who are familiar with the recent festival Afro Vibes on Goko that happened a couple of weeks ago, but that was put on by Digi Millennials. Digi Millennials is actually a LiftOff client, so they're actually part of LiftOff. And so yeah, we support any different types of businesses. There are a bunch of other ones that are in the community that we supported. But yeah, so any questions? Any more questions?
Mine is just a comment. Like, I wish everybody knows about this group, because all the things that you mentioned, the training, the advice, those are the main reason why businesses fail. And I
Thank you
will
for saying that.
say to you my circle of influence, and I will
Yes.
still come and find you so we
Yes.
can talk more
Yes.
outside of this webinar. So thank you again for the training.
In fact, what I will say this very, very simply, go on the website, spread the information. We want everyone in the community to know, because the problem is a lot of folks don't know. And like I said, one of the challenges that we discovered in setting up LiftOff when we spoke to people is that, oh, we don't have access to information. We don't know what's going on. Well, that's one of the reasons why LiftOff exists, because especially for Black folks, we have a ton of information that we've already domiciled, apart from just the coaching. If just basic information, apart from the coaching and being in the program and all that, just basic information about resources or who to connect with or what to do, what steps to make. So sometimes you might find out about LiftOff and maybe you feel you're not yet ready to apply. No problem. But you want to do X, Y, Z. LiftOff is there. You can find out that information. You've come to our office, connect with us on social media, grab the email, go to the website, send us a message. We are there for you. And like I said, the only way in which LiftOff measures its success is in the Black-owned businesses, the Black-owned enterprises and ideas and things that it supports, the Black community. That's our only success metric. If you are successful, then we are successful. So to your point, thank you so much, Aya, for pointing that out, because access to information, timely information is important. I give an example. I started a business here in Kitchener Waterloo. My business was an education technology company focused in Nigeria. And I didn't have information. I had some information. I went through a bunch of programs here. I was very privileged and fortunate to have connected to ecosystems, but this was before LiftOff. And so by the time I was now trying to do business, a lot of the incubators and services that I was accessing had never dealt with a business being in Canada and setting up in Nigeria. They hadn't dealt with it. And so I stumbled across the Trade Commissioner Service on my own and then found out about their supports. But guess what? By the time I found out about them, we had made some revenue in Nigeria. It automatically made me ineligible for funding of up to $75,000. I would have gotten $75,000 in funding. Had known that they existed and had applied before I started making revenue. But I already started, once you make even $1 of revenue, so one of those rules that is there. I couldn't get that money unless I was now going to another market. So it now became a thing of, okay, if you're going to Ghana or going somewhere else, that's not the market you've already launched in, then we can provide you that funding. I mean, they had other supports that they provided. Don't get me wrong. Trade Commercial Service was great, but that money would have come in helpful. Flying all the, different trips, flying to Nigeria, marketing, sales, trying to get customers. All of those market development costs would have been covered by that grant if I had known about it. So again, it's one of those things where we want the word to go out. We want folks to know about LiftOff, because if you are starting a business as a Black person in this region and you haven't spoken to LiftOff, as we say in Nigeria, you're on a long thing. You need to be, LiftOff will give you the information, the resources, the connections. And another thing we need to understand is that because you move into a new area, there are new networks that exist that you don't know about. NIROW is one such network, but NIROW power and the value that NIROW can give to its members is by also connecting to other networks. And that's one of the reasons why we were delighted when NIROW reached out and said, oh, can you do this for NIROW members? Because they know that it has value for you, but also what we want to do is to pull NIROW members to understand that, yes, keep your day job. No one is telling you to quit. All that story about, oh, what's it called, Bill Gates, and I quit my job and I dropped out of high school. That's for some people, not for us. We know. So we know that as Black folks, we face peculiar problems. No one is telling you to quit your job. No one is telling you that you must only do job or this. We're saying just make sure that you want to put in the time and the effort to build your business, and we will provide you the support. And we will be flexible in how we meet with you and provide that. And so it's one of those unique things that we want everybody to know about, because that's the only way that we can all succeed.
Wow, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. So I think at this point now, I don't know if there's anyone still on. But yeah, I just left this up on the page so that if you want the website, email, and all of that stuff, you can grab it. But yeah, if like I said, you can email me. I'm also on my email is the same. So you can use Uche Onuora, so you and then my last name Onuora at LiftOff by CCWR. So you can send me an email. You can also send to the general LiftOff email. I'm also on mobile and WhatsApp. And I can So whenever you need any information, email, join the mailing list. And then also let me just put my number in the chat so that anyone who wants to can also reach out if you want to ask questions. But any question you have, please feel free to ask. There's no question that is foolish or not, please just ask.
Thank you. I'll come and find you in your office for sure. So thank you.
Okay, here is the number. So yeah. So thanks everyone.
Okay, so Onuora, O-N.
Okay, so this my email is
UONUORA.
Yes.
LiftOff by CCWR.ca. All right, thank you.
You can do .ca or even .org. Anyone is fine. LiftOff by CCWR. That's it. Okay. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Bisola, is Bisola still there? Is Kay or Rich, any of you still there? Before I sign off, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. I don't know if any of you can hear me.
That's okay.
Okay. No worries. Take care.